It's the judgment day in Tamil Nadu. The Supreme Court, which will deliver on the disproportionate assets case. The tremors will be felt of that verdict in Tamil Nadu politics, which has seen a deadlock for the past 1 week. And what's been expected from Sasikala and OPS camp? What are the possible scenarios, and how's the scene on the ground going right across to India Days? Padmaja Joshi, who's been tracking the developments on the ground. She's joining us from Chennai. Padmaja, good morning. But is it a good morning for the OPS camp or the Sasikala camp today, as a DA case verdict is expected? How are both of them preparing for it?
Well, that is going to be decided in just a while from now by the Supreme Court. But remember, just to jog the memory of our viewers, this is a case which dates back 21 years. It has hung fire for all of this while, and it's bad enough to have this case drag so long. But imagine to actually have your political career hinging on it, so much hinging on this particular case. But the latest that we are hearing right now is at the Golden Bay Resort, keeping in mind the importance, the magnitude of today's verdict. Security has been beefed up. That's the latest that we're hearing from Kuvatur, is that outside the Golden Bay Resort, reinforcements have been called in, and there is heightened security around the perimeter of that particular resort. Remember, Shashikala, VK Shashikala, actually spent the night there, repeatedly speaking to her MLAs, also speaking to the media, again saying that tomorrow is going to be a very good day for us. That's what she had told MLAs yesterday night. So it was a confident VK Shashikala who decided to stay back with her entire band of MLAs. She claims she has 129, but yesterday the report submitted in court revealed that 119 MLAs were present with her at the resort. We'll get you more updates on that particular development, but let's also tell you why today is so important. It's a 66 crore rupees disproportionate assets case. Accused number one, which was JJ Lalata, she is no more. So now there is VK Shashikala, whose fate hinges on what happens today. A two-judge bench last year had reserved its verdict in this case, and now today that verdict is going to come out. Keeping that in mind, there is security in most places. Let's listen in to what BJP MP Subramaniam Swamy had to say about what to expect.
There are one or two questions which the judges were concerned about, and they have to address. One is whether the Karnataka rule of 10% should be accepted. If it's not to be accepted, then the conviction is very easy, because it means that the trial court conviction of disproportionate assets is also confirmed by the High Court.
Dr. Swamy, legalities aside, if conviction happens and leave aside what is the quantum of punishment, the fact remains that Sasikala cannot be the chief minister then, right?
If the conviction takes place, then there is no question. But supposing the two judges don't agree on basics, then the Supreme Court will have to set up a three-judge bench and hear the matter all over again, in which case Sasikala can.
Sasikala can, and that's where my last question is that there's a composite float test that's the Attorney General has suggested. Are you happy with it? I mean, you said you suggested that something of this sort should happen rather than in this line.
No. I see, the constitutional procedure has been laid out. The vote on the floor is taken after the person with the prima facie majority is given the oath of office, and then a confidence motion is moved by that person in the House, and then it is decided whether they have enjoy the support of the House. Now, what the Attorney General is suggesting is something that is extraordinary. It is outside the Constitution. It's extra-constitutional, and in my opinion, it is something that the governor should not respond.
All right, my colleague Akshita Anand Gopal now joins us from outside Shashikala's house, the erstwhile residence of Jayalalitha, which is Vedanilayam at Poise Garden. Is Shashikala even back yet, Akshita?
No, she's not, Padmaja, but the security is still beefed up here. She's expected to come back later in the day. The question is, will she wait for the DA case verdict and then return here, or will she come before that? Many believe that the reason she chose to stay back at Kuvatur last night was simply because she knew the verdict was coming out and wanted to be away from the media, Claire. But it's a big day for her, you know, Padmaja. The DA case has already taken down Jayalalitha once. Many believed and speculated that Jayalalitha's health also went for the worse. It was after, of course, this particular case and the fact that she was jailed after that. VK Sashikala in the past has also been jailed over this particular case in 2014. The question is now what will happen. Remember, the Karnataka High Court, as you pointed out, had acquitted her, but there were several issues, discrepancies that were raised by the Karnataka government when an appeal was filed in the Supreme Court with regards to a mathematical error. Will that be raked up in the Supreme Court? What exactly is in store for Sashikala Natarajan? That is the big question. You know, over the last few days, Padmaja, you've been here at Poise Garden. You've been seeing how there's been, very few supporters who've been gathering here. Today, we'll really know how popular Sashikala Natarajan is based on the verdict. What kind of crowds will we see here is the big question. It's do or die really today for Sashikala Natarajan. Over the next few hours, she's going to be very, very tense because this will establish whether she can in fact have a political future or not.
If it is going to be an adverse judgment, then definitely disadvantage for O. Pannirselvam.
Well, it might sound terribly cynical, but more often than not, popularity follows power, doesn't it? So whoever is in the seat automatically becomes more popular. But what is this case which is so critical for the fate of VK Sashikala, that will decide whether she even has a shot at becoming Chief Minister or not? Now, what is important is that a lot of people, in fact, everyone in the OPS camp would be hoping that Shashikala is found guilty in this disproportionate assets case, not realizing that this will also decide, this verdict will also be about Jayalalitha, who incidentally was accused number 1 in the case. So will also be about what Jayalalitha's legacy will be remembered as. That being said, it's a case that has haunted Shashikala, Jayalalitha and the other accused for far too long. What is its genesis? We tell you in this report.
Sashikala Natarajan, often called Chennamma of Tamil Nadu, has been seemingly confident of her win in the biggest power tussle in AIDMK. But a sword is already hanging over her head. The disproportionate assets case. The case has been haunting Sashikala since 1996. When the DMK government ordered a vigilance probe against Jayalalitha based on a complaint by Subramanian Swamy. Jayalalitha, Sashikala and their aides were accused of having unexplained assets worth 66 crore rupees. In 1997, prosecution was launched in Sessions Court in Chennai against Jayalalitha and 3 others, and in June they were charge sheeted. Jaya came back to power in 2001 with absolute majority, but her appointment was challenged due to her conviction in October 2000 in the Tamil Nadu Small Industries Corporation case. In 2003, the Supreme Court transferred the case to Bengaluru as DMK said a fair trial was not possible in Tamil Nadu with Jayalalitha as the Chief Minister. And in 2005, thus began the trial in a special court in Bengaluru. In 2012, Special Public Prosecutor in the case, B.V. Acharya resigned alleging pressure and G. Bhavani Singh was appointed as SPP. After 18 years, the trial court gave its verdict in September 2014, convicting Jayalalitha, Sashikala and their aides, and sentenced them to 4 years imprisonment. But the very next month, the Apex Court granted bail to Jaya. This was later overturned by the Karnataka High Court in 2015. As Jayalalitha passed away in December 2016, the ruling will now still have a bearing on Sashikala and the rest. And even though there are other cases pending against Sashikala, the disproportionate assets case spells immediate danger for her and is the biggest stumbling block in her political ambitions. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, what an edge of the seat nail biter this day is going to turn out to be, because it's very rare that you have a case which is so critical to someone's political fortune. It's almost as if their entire political career is hanging by a thread, and not just that, will also affect the legacy of one of the tallest leaders that India has seen. But that's just one part. There's also the other about just how many possible scenarios are there in this case, given that both the judges of this two-judge bench are going to write their separate judgments. What if they have differing verdicts? What if they concur? What if Shashikala is convicted? What if she is acquitted? What if it is sent back to the Karnataka High Court? So a whole spectrum of possibilities there. We take you through them all.
The stakes are high for all sides in the AIA-DMK civil war. So far, the numbers seem to be on Sasikala's side, and the public mood seems to be in favour of O. Selvam. But uncertainty remains. As a two-judge bench including Justice P.C. Ghosh and Justice Amitav Roy prepare to seal Sasikala's fate, 4 possible scenarios emerge. If the Supreme Court upholds the High Court's acquittal judgment, it implies that there will be no disqualification for Sasikala, and she can take oath as Tamil Nadu Chief Minister immediately. If the Supreme Court sets aside the High Court's judgment and upholds the trial court's ruling, then Sasikala stands convicted again and will be disqualified for at least 10 years and won't be able to contest elections. In the third possible scenario, the Apex Court may send the case back to Karnataka High Court. Such a move would automatically mean that the High Court's acquittal is automatically set aside, which would in turn mean that the Special Court's judgment convicting Sasikala is restored, barring her from contesting elections. The two judges on the bench are writing separate judgments in the case. This increases the possibility of a fourth scenario where the verdict is split. In such a case, the CJI is likely to refer the case to another judge or to a larger bench consisting of 3 judges. This would mean that the entire matter will be reheard. A window opens up for Sasikala as a composite floor test might become the next possibility. Attorney General Mukul Rohtagi has already advised Governor Vidyasagar Rao that he must swear in Sasikala and call for a floor test as soon as possible. In 1998, Supreme Court judgment in the Jagdambika Pal case saw similar colour, when the Apex Court ordered a floor test in the Assembly to determine who among Pal and Kalyan Singh had majority for Chief Ministership of Uttar Pradesh. And now it's judgment day for Sasikala, and the highly anticipated verdict will be a game changer in Tamil Nadu's war for throne. Bureau Report, India Today.
Akshata continues to be live with us from outside Poets Garden. What is really curious is the reason that Shashikala decided to even stay back at the Golden Bay Resort, while her camp would say, Akshata, that it was only in an effort to do a morale boosting exercise for all of her MLAs who, remember, have been in confinement for quite a bit now. One also wonders, is it just about keeping a hawk's eye on them?
You know, you can't help but wonder about the timing, Padmaja. Over the last 3 days, she's been there 2 times. Yesterday, she went and she expressed confidence, saying that, you know, MLAs are like her family members. She's been reinstating that time and again. Yesterday, when she said it, she also said that, you know, she's packed her bag. She's going to be staying through the night with them. And there's no doubt that to a large extent, while she's also making an attempt to stay away from the media glare over the DA case verdict, there's going to be a lot of worried faces among the MLAs over this particular case. They're also going to be watching very keenly because their political futures will be linked to this, which is why the timing of this is so crucial, Padmaja, at a time when we're seeing such political turmoil. For the DA case verdict also to be timed perfectly along with this and merged with this really does put Shashikala Natarajan in the dock. You know, it's do or die not just for her but also for O. Selvam. If she's acquitted, there's no doubt that many of the MLAs and representatives will choose to side with her because they believe that she's a stronger leader, that she is someone who can carry forward Jayalalitha's political legacy as far as the AIADMK is concerned. But if she's convicted, it means an almost immediate win for O. Selvam because immediately all the MLAs will move to his side knowing that they have no political future whatsoever for Shashikala. So I think through the night, no doubt, it was a sleepless night for her. Not just the worry about what exactly the verdict will be, but she would have definitely tried to reach out to as many MLAs as she could, expressing confidence that she will come out clean at the end of this verdict, that possibly post 10:30 she will be acquitted. There's no doubt that she would have tried to reiterate reiterate that time and again, especially with the MLAs at that particular resort. She doesn't have her work at this point cut out for her in any way, Padmaja. She's got a lot of thinking to do, and more than anything else, a lot of convincing among the MLAs who at this point seem to be largely undecided. They are staying at the resort, but they've never spoken out and said that, look, we are going to back Sashikala Natarajan. I think they are also very, very carefully watching what happens today in the next few hours.
Now, yesterday, Shashikala got a shot in the arm when actually a report was submitted to the Madras High Court by the police, which said that the legislators who were being held at Golden Bay Resort, at the resorts in Kuvatur, were not there against their will. That is something that was said officially in court. But the only slight drawback was that against the figure that the Shashikala camp has put out, that of 129 MLAs, this report said only 119 MLAs were, their presence was recorded there. But if you thought that the drama was only going to be limited to inside court, that was not to be. Just hours before the court was to sit, remember it's going to happen at 10:30 in the morning today, just hours before that, in a late night escape drama, the MLA from Madurai South actually landed up here at the house of O. Paneerselvam, and he narrated the dramatic fashion in which he escaped from that resort, almost reminding you of an episode of Prison Break, where he changed his appearance, scaled the wall, and then ran away, only to reappear here. So this is one story which is never shorn of more than its share of drama. Listen to him.
I wore a short pant and scaled the compound wall. If there is a floor test, many will vote for OPS.
What is it that OPS knows that the rest of the world does not? What else can possibly explain his complete calm demeanor yesterday? So while Shashikala went on practically a PR blitz, again and again reaching out to her cadre, then going to the Golden Bay Resort, speaking to her MLAs there, again talking about how there are people who speak with respect only to men, but only because she's a woman, they decide to disrespect her. On the one hand, she was doing all of this. On the other, it was almost as if O. Paneerselvam had decided that the time for political wrangling was over. He had anointed himself the chief minister, and he was going to act like one in a statesman-like fashion. This is what OPS did through the day yesterday, playing CM even as Shashikala played catch-up.
It was a little after 1 p.m. on Monday that O. Paneerselvam reached the Tamil Nadu Secretariat in the Fort St. George area of Chennai. Paneerselvam started with prayers to prep himself for his first visit to the nerve center of the Tamil Nadu government. And Paneerselvam was armed with a long list of things to do.
One of the main contentions that many of them have been raising is about how there's no administration happening at the government side, and hence O. Paneerselvam will be trying to rectify that and also send out a strong message that this is not a small game, but he's having everything under control.
It was on 8th of February that the Shashikala camp had loaded nearly 120 MLAs on buses and secretly took them away to resorts and other hostels. This left a governance vacuum in Chennai. With most ministers away, there are no files moving, and administration is at a complete standstill.
Instead of shedding crocodile tears, tell her to release the MLAs. Let them go back to their respective constituencies. Let them think calmly and then make a decision. We'll see what happens then.
A sea of speculations gripped the city as DMK working President Stalin visited the Secretariat just before Paneerselvam. But Stalin steered clear of any comment.
We have no plan of action.
What is working for O. Paneerselvam image? As a working chief minister of Tamil Nadu, he's proved his mettle by handling some of the very volatile subjects like Cyclone Varda, Jallikattu, and even the Kaveri water crisis. And also in his favor are the swelling ground support in every passing day. But what really matters at the end of the day is the numbers and the flow. And unfortunately, right now, O Paneerselvam does not have the golden number. With camera person Prakash from Chennai, this is Akshaya Nath for India Today.